Hello and welcome to another episode of Diary with a Property Pro. Today's episode, we're going to do a fireside chat. We're going to talk all things property market, what's going on, what's happening in the recession, should you fake it till you make it, and is that going to work long term, and what to do when you start to see the downturn in the property market, how to handle that, and what's the best way to develop your mindset to see you through the other side and that you don't end up driving a DHL van. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So we're discussing before we came on air, there was a lull in the investor appetite, which seems to have came back with a roar. So what do you think's happened?
I think it is at that time of year where it kind of branches off to kind of November, December. It always really happens where things slow right down a bit. But it usually takes a couple of months to pick back up into the new year. But January was probably one of the best months I've ever had for bringing on new investors. Why was that? With everything that's happening just now, why would an investor want to invest in Scotland with all the new regulations, etc., etc.? But it's about educating them the right way and the way that we do stuff as well. So, yeah, as I said, like January, probably one of the record months for the business since it's been running for 4.5 years, you know.
What's the sort of feedback they're giving you in terms of why the appetite's there?
I think it's people who've got just money sitting, they're just wanting to get it working and working with the right business as well. Picking the right business. It was quite funny. I was on a call yesterday with an investor who's going to be signing up today. And I was like, where did you find out about us? Because I always ask that just to see what's happening and why they would get in touch with us. And he said, oh, I've got some friends in Dubai who were talking about your business. And I was like, that's really, really good to know, you know. So it's not just obviously in the UK, we're branching out to overseas as well.
Well, one of the things that you probably find is if you look at some of these places that people want to invest, like invest in Dubai, London, Edinburgh, Manchester, Liverpool, a lot of the sort of bigger cities, bigger places or financial hubs are that expensive now that people are looking to get value.
Yeah.
And Scotland still represents a great place that you can find value if you purchase the right type of properties, the right types of structures, the right type of strategy. So you take the property, you apply the right strategy. Scotland has a great value that's up there with the best of them around the world. So it's no surprise that people in Dubai are sort of whispering around the world that things are going well over in Scotland.
Yeah, what I get a lot as well is when you get investors on the phone, you're speaking to them, you're showing them, right, well, they're telling you what kind of funds they've got available, and you're going, right, well, this is what I can do with that. These are kind of deals that we're looking at. These are the price points. And then what a lot of them will say is like, how can you get a property for that price? Like where I come from, like if it's a London investor, etc., is like you can't get a 1-bedroom flat for that, you know. So for instance, we're saying like get your property between 100 150k. That's the price point that we look at for our service accommodation properties in decent areas. And some of them are like, what? How can you get a property for that much and get that return? Like it's obscene. So I think that's what drags a lot of investors from down south to where we're from. You know, that's why we get a lot of clients from these areas and overseas and the outskirts of London, in London, and the major cities and down south as well. It's just they can't get the properties for that price point.
How do they hear about you, like in these different areas? Are you doing any advertising?
Well, at the start we were doing a lot of advertising. We've cut that off now, but I think our name's out there now, and obviously we've got the social media channels where we're putting a lot of stuff out as well. We've got a lot of followers on there. But yeah, just run Facebook and Instagram ads at the start, getting people into the system. We've got obviously the email marketing as well, which works really well. So yeah, I mean, we get a lot of our businesses like referrals as well. People that have already invested referring us on to like maybe family members or other business partners and stuff as well. So that's good to hear as well. Yeah. So we must be doing something.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's funny how word of mouth spreads so quickly.
Yeah.
People are quick to. It's probably the best customer you can get is a referral.
Definitely. We've got a lot of investors on our books as well who have been with us for many years, where we're helping them build that portfolio over a space of time. Mm-hmm. So maybe they've not got the money maybe they've invested in 1 or 2 properties, but they've not got the money ready for the third one yet. So they'll come back to us in maybe 6 to 12 months and say, like, that's me ready for my next one. So we've got quite a lot of investors on our books where they've already got maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 properties with us, maybe even more. So they're always coming back for more because the returns that they're getting are good and it works for them. Obviously, they're working with the right company as well. Well-established company, ran correctly, great teams behind us as well. So that's a big thing for us.
What do you think of the people? Have you had any investors that have moved that initially got into it for buy-to-let and are moving across to the service department model?
Yes. Obviously, we touched on the last episode that we've done, but the pros and cons of buy-to-lets. What I'm trying to do is, instead of putting myself in a position telling an investor, yes, buy-to-lets are great, maybe some are, but I'm trying to educate them away from that just now and into serviced accommodation. For that reason, obviously, more returns, property getting looked after better. You're not getting a tenant in there who maybe not pay you, who maybe not leave, and it's harder to get them out now, as you know. So just try to educate them away from the buy-to-let strategies just now into what we're trying to do with serviced accommodation, what we've done, and what we're trying to build in the background, you know.
What's the big goal? What are you thinking in terms of where you want to get to?
So what we've done over the past few years is build a business where we're a one-stop shop, you know, instead of like passing business to other companies and stuff. So what we've done over the past 3, 4, 5 years is built a business where, right, we'll source you the property. We've got our own building team there as well. You don't need to go anywhere else for that. We'll take care of that for you. And then over the past kind of 14, 15 months, me and you have built obviously the service accommodation management company. So instead of passing it on to another management company, we'll take care of that for you as well. A lot of investors like that kind of strategy because they're just dealing with us and that's it. So we get a lot of good feedback on that.
What do they like about it?
Just keep everything under the one house. Dealing with just obviously us as a business instead of passing business around to people who don't know. What you get with a lot of kind of sources and stuff as well is they'll maybe, like, we'll source you the deal, but I'm going to give it to this guy to refurb for you. You need to manage refurb yourself. Investors don't want that. They just want to get their money into investment and you deal with it. They don't need to deal with any of the hassle of dealing with building teams or chucking it over to a management company who they don't know as well, who they don't maybe trust. So that's some of the stuff there.
What do you make of sort of these sources that are out there in social media? You know, that are out there sort of promising the world, but you know, their part of the game is to just do the sourcing part, and then it's up to you to get the management sorted out.
Yeah.
And then we get a management company. It's like I don't know how they came up with these numbers because there's no way we can get them.
Yeah.
Somebody's left holding a property. Yeah.
Or they buy it at discount and they're looking for another high-end value, and that's not happening these days, is it? As we've seen.
I've heard a lot of that.
Yeah. I think we've touched on it before as well.
A lot of issues around that.
Yeah. So you need to watch who you're working with.
Yeah, 100%. What about
it's a bit fake. You get a lot of people fake it till you make it, you know, get into courses, all these courses that they're starting and they're coming out and they're going to be multi-millionaires, you know, and I've done this and I've done that. Like, get your head into books, get your head into education, educate yourself first instead of putting yourself out there and telling people you can do something when you really can't. You know, obviously everybody's got to start somewhere, but get yourself educated in the industry that you want to work in. Don't just go out there and obviously fake it till you make it. It's not the right way to do business because you'll get found out.
What would you say to somebody that's starting out then? What would you recommend?
You need to educate yourself. You need to get yourself, obviously you've got to start somewhere, as I said, but don't just go and do one course and come out it and think that you know everything. You know, I would say get a mentor and get a mentor that's working with you through what you're trying to do. It's something that I've done and it's something that really helped me. I've done everything from go to 2 or 3 courses and come out and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and it's definitely not going to work. You need to definitely get educated in the right way, and I think the best way to do that is get somebody that's going to help you maybe 6-12 months, get yourself somebody looking after you. If you're going to try and get in there and do this kind of work and source deals, pay somebody to show you how to do it and educate you the right way.
Yep. What about when you get going? Like, what would you say is the best way to keep that momentum up?
There's going to be a lot of blubs and bumps in the road, isn't there? What you see with a lot of people, what you get, like, for instance, some of these courses, there's 20-30 people going to them. Maybe only 1 or 2 people do something in that, and that 1 or 2 people that's done something have maybe come up against a lot of issues and hassles and things not working, but they've just kept going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and what worked for me, like, everything wasn't great, you know. So it is going to be bumps along the road. It's about picking yourself back up and keep going, you know.
The other thing is that you've not only got you that's got the bumps in the road, you want to make sure you're avoiding, you know, placing an investor into the wrong type of property. It's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, and it's difficult to get the right properties when you're a pro. Never mind when you're totally wet behind the ears. You've never bought a property in your life. Yeah. You've done a course and you think, hey, look, I'm out ready to rock.
Yeah. How do some of these people get business? But like, if you were an investor and somebody came to you that's got no background, their business is, you go to a company's house, their business is 6 months old, like, how are some of these people getting business? Is it the investor's fault, or?
It's difficult, really. I mean, when an investor does due diligence, I mean, there's reasons someone would have a new company. You know, maybe they're starting a new venture. You've got to weigh up what their track record is, how they sound, how they appear, what they're saying. You've got to take a lot of factors in. So I explain that there's really only 4 players in the property market, and the 4 players, like, these people are usually player 3. They get caught in this trap.
Yeah.
So, quick refresher on what the players are. Player 1 is no money, no knowledge.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything and I've got no money. Player 2 is I've got knowledge because I've studied or learned, or I'm involved in the business in some way. I'm involved in the industry in some shape or form. But I've not got any money as yet. Player 3 is I have no knowledge and I have loads of money. So they've usually been successful somewhere else, you know, in business, corporate world. Maybe they've done well selling their own property, they've had an inheritance, these types of things. But they've very little knowledge, so they're relying on someone to give them that knowledge. Yeah. And you have player 4 who has lots of knowledge and lots of money. So, like, player 4 is not going to entertain player 1 and 2. They might maybe player 2 to use as a service. They're certainly they're not going to let player 2 guide and direct what they should invest in, because player 4 will have much more knowledge than player 1 or 2. So player 3 is really the target, which is, hey, you've got some money and I can help you place it somewhere. Yeah. But what player 3 needs to be wary of is that they should really only be dealing with player 2, not player 1. But if they're all making the same noises, then you need to, like, player 3 might give them the benefit of the doubt. Yep. Somebody starting out and so on. So you've just got to weigh up that risk. Yeah. You got to know how to analyse. That's why when I was developing the property course, and I was asked, like, who would this be for? And I says, like, a property course might be really good for player 3, because player 3's looking to have a measure of, if I got player 1 or if I got player 2, they would need to know the basics and the fundamentals of, like, what it is they're getting involved in. And the course would teach them that so that they could identify the player 1, fake it till you make it, I've not got a clue, versus player 2, right, I'm in the game, but I'm not quite as where I would like to be, but I have knowledge and skill. Well, if you ask the right questions, because player 3 had studied the course, they could ask the right questions to identify player 1 or player 2. Yeah. So it's not, it's maybe wrong to say is it their fault, they're maybe just a little naive. But naivety when 100, 200, 300,000 purchases is something that heals very fast. So
you definitely need to know what you're doing. That's for sure. And I don't think. What's your thoughts? Obviously, going forward with obviously like things are going to be changing very very quickly. Are all these kind of one man band sourcers and stuff going to fall behind people like ourselves who are well established and got investors who we're working with and we've got 5-10 year plans with and we're building portfolios for them? Are we going to be okay? And are these people going to fall by the wayside? You know.
Well, I'd go back to when I started investing, and I started investing sort of 04, 05, and then seen the rise 06, 07, and then the cracks really starting to split apart 07, and then the detonation in 08. And leading into sort of 06, 07, it was like a hot place to be a sourcer. Like you heard this, I'm like, what's a sourcer? It's somebody that does this and they find you this deal and they can get you this and they can get you that. And it was all these sorts of like buzzwords. I thought that's a bit interesting. That like how do they do it? And then you seen that when the cracks started to form, like it was a mass exodus. You know, all these guys that were making the noise about, you know, we'll find you this, we'll find you that, were like working for DHL, and then you know, I'm driving a van for a delivery company, and what happened to the sourcing? It's just completely dried up. So they were out the door. Because the market is based on confidence. So an investor is investing because they're confident in the market. When there's a market shake-up, that confidence is lost. And when the confidence is lost, what happens is the dynamics change of how much naivety you would apply. So when market's great and everything's going good and somebody's making all the right noises, you might let it slide that, hey, look, they're just starting out, or they're new, or they're hungry, or whatever it is. And you'd be like, yeah, but everything's going well, because the property market's probably going to keep taking off if it's at the early part of the cycle. But as you dip over the edge and go down, the confidence drops. So people are spooked and they're not just going to rush into things because the market's falling. And what you want is you want really steady, sure hands if you are going to invest.
In that downward spiral.
I mean, the things that you would want to ask is, like, what strategy would you use in a downward spiral? What's the situation in terms of, if I buy that, what's my likely downside? How do I weigh that up against the upside of the income? Is the income going to be as steady as it has been because there's a market dynamic change? If so, what's that likely to be? What strategies have you got to manage and get around that? And when you answer these questions, what happens is that the questions are born from the market's had a shake-up and confidence has dropped. And what's happening is you can answer more and more of these questions, the confidence rises back up. Yep. But that the answer to the questions come from experience, wisdom, being involved in a down cycle, investing through a downturn. And majority of the sources out there don't have that, so they're never going to get that confidence up to the level where an investor feels happy to get involved back in the market. So it's going to be a real interesting one where the majority of these guys will likely disappear. You know, they'll become a PT in Dubai at 10k a month or whatever the buzzword is.
Yeah, it's very interesting that. As you said, like you need to know what you're doing. It's the people that have got the businesses and the structure and know what they're doing in all markets are the ones that are going to win. And they're the ones that a lot of investors are going to work with moving forward. Even in a bad market, if you can make it work and you can tell them and show them and educate them how it works, you're always going to be good. Your business is always going to run smoothly, you know.
You want someone that's thrived in a downturn.
Yeah.
Because other than that, you're just dealing with somebody that's rode the wave on the way up.
Yeah.
They've never been through the turbulence.
Yeah, definitely.
And when it looks like turbulence is ahead, you don't want the guy that rode the wave, you want the guy that's been through the turbulence.
Yeah.
That's really what you're looking for.
You were obviously in that 2007, 2008, and you're doing a bit of sourcing back then as well. So I remember a story you told me about people saying to you, how can you get deals? How can you get deals? Can you tell us a bit about
that? So 2008, the market had imploded. So there was prices were being pushed higher and higher and higher and higher. They kept being pushed up. And what had happened was that everyone was doing deals, everybody was buying properties, everyone was sourcing properties. It was high time. And then this sort of credit crunch happened. No banks were lending. The type of price that you had to agree with a seller to get a deal done was much lower for the seller. So a much more difficult deal to agree. And everyone was still trapped in that mindset that prices are going up 10% a month. So being able to bridge that gap was really, really tricky. And because of my background, you know, I'm used to being told no. Like, yeah, you know, this is the thing. Good, you building a rapport, speaking to people, showing interest in what it is that they need to get out of it, and people, you were developing not just rapport but trust. That, hey, look, I'll be straight up with you. I'll tell you what we can do. Things have changed dramatically. It doesn't mean that it's all, you know, nothing can happen, but it's just, it's not going to be as great as it was. And people like that up front, sort of like, I know what I'm dealing with. And you would say, right, look, you know, here's what I would suggest. Here's some suggestions. So I was speaking to potential clients, and I was getting deals, and this was in the face of no one being able to get deals. And they're like, how is it possible that you're doing this? And I would just explain what I was doing, and they were like, it can't be that. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. So much so they invited me down to York for me to get on a phone so that they could witness what I was doing. And they were like, "Can you do this anywhere?" I was like, "Well, get me a lead from wherever you want." And I phoned someone in the outskirts of London, and I says, like, "What's your situation?" I just went through the whole sort of thing, and I'm like, "Yeah." I says, "Look, I'm in the area." I says, I'm covering for one of the guys. He's had to take a bit of time off. I thought I'd seen your inquiry come through. I thought I would get in touch with you. You know, let's find out a wee bit more about your situation. And they were like, "Yeah, sounds great." And you know, the guys that were, you know, the owning company, they're like fell off the chair. They're like, we fucking can't believe that you've done this. I'm like, well, like this is how you do it. And then this is what I mean is thriving in that market. And it was, again, what we're pointing to, whether you're whether it's someone that you are looking to agree a deal with, or you're that number 4 player with that investor, you've got to understand what it is that they want. And when you understand what it is that they want, you can explain how close or far away that you are from that, and then see if you can bridge the gap. And that's the art. That's how you do it. And that was how I was able to do deals. Yeah.
It's good speaking about that, because this is obviously why we started this podcast, about just the no bullshit talk, like just be a normal person and do the right thing. And that's what we try to do with investors as well. Like, don't bullshit them, because you'll get caught out in the end. Just tell them what it is and how you're going to do it. And it works tenfold. Like, your business will definitely thrive if you do the right thing and don't bullshit anybody. You see this a lot with people that just talk utter nonsense and what they're going to do, and the high values that they're going to get, and I can do this and I can do that, and it's just, you're just looking at it. You see it a lot on LinkedIn as well. It's fucking obscene, man.
There's going to be a serious amount of pain for investors, for sourcers. People have been caught up in it. A serious amount of pain.
So don't fucking bullshit.
I mean, and as I said, like, it's look, whether you call it the property business, the investment business, the building business, whatever it is, above all, we're in the people business, right? And people buy from people. So people like people that they like. And that's what you want to do, is you want to build those relationships. And being able to speak to someone and build that relationship is key, because you will just thrive above everyone else.
Definitely.
So it's that art of negotiating, speaking, understanding, building rapport, understanding someone else's point of view. You're just going to set yourself apart from everybody else.
Head and shoulders above the rest, as you say.
Cream of the crop rises to the top.
Definitely. It's great to, as I said, it's great to chat about that, because that's why we've made this podcast in the first place, is just do not bullshit anybody.
I mean, like, say you're a young buck, young guy or gal starting out, and you want to get involved in the property industry. Right, it's going to go through a bit of turmoil, but as someone who went into it full time into the turmoil, I wouldn't shy away from it, as long as you're prepared for a bit of turbulence. And with the right skill set and knowledge, the application of your time, and prepared to do what it takes, you're going to get there, because it's a very, very good industry to get involved in when done properly. But it's like a whipsaw when you're not doing it properly. It's great, and then it whips back and cuts you in half. So when you have the understanding, the depth of the knowledge of how this thing works, then you just can see these things coming up. Like we've discussed in the episodes before, just spotting the little things. And another great thing is to be around the people that are in that industry that are doing well, the leaders. You want to be around them, surround yourself with them in whatever form it is that you can, and get that drummed into you, because you're going to pick up the wisdom. There's an old quote that I used to keep up in my office. It was, hang around with better people because their habits will rub off on you.
What'd you hang about me for then?
It's a good question. I probably need to go and get that quote back up and off as well.
No, the good thing again, like obviously what we do is we work with investors, etc. We've been through all the turbulence. We've been there. We've done it. We've wore the t-shirt. We've built a business where we're a one-stop shop. But what we're also building in the background, which is going to be opening very, very soon, is a coaching community, and George is the face of that. For guys that are just starting out, don't fake it till you make it. Jump into the coaching community. Learn from the best. Learn from people who've been there, done it, wore the t-shirt, go through the modules, etc. Do you want to touch on some of that? How will that help these young people are coming through? Or not just young people, like we've got people in there already who are a lot older than me and you, and are trying to restart their journey, etc.
So the mindset coaching community is for people that are looking to start out and they need to amplify their mindset. Like I say it over and over again, 99% of the time people will come to me for advice, right? And it's usually that they think that there's some knowledge that they lack that they hope to pick up. But 99 times out of 100, it's the mindset that's not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Mindset and expectation are very, very close to each other. So it's developing that mindset so that they can set the expectation of what they need to do to get where they want to go.
Yeah.
And the knowledge sort of takes care of itself. That said, the mindset coaching is not just for property investment. It's for any endeavor that you want to take on in your life, whether it be an Ironman, a mountain, you want to, ride your first 100 miles on a bike, you want to get that PR in the gym, you want better relationships, you want a better balanced life. Whatever it is that you aspire to, that's going to supercharge your grey matter so that you can have the right framing in your mind to approach those goals and dreams that you have. But to get the ingrained knowledge, because you do need to pick up the knowledge at some point, and there's a lot of times where people will want the information. So that's where the property course, How to Become a Property Pro, is there for the real information that's valid and up to date. Because a lot of the stuff, a lot of the books and a lot of the courses that you see now are just rehashed old versions that applied then, but they don't apply now.
Yeah.
So there's, for instance, there's rules that have changed, there's regulation that's changed, there's strategies that have changed, finance has changed. So these strategies are somewhat out of date. Now, the big part of that is to show you what's up to date, and then to keep abreast of those situations is how, things like forecasting the market, and that is what the property community is about, is so that you can have the cutting edge information in real time in a community that there's a whole bunch of people that are looking to do exactly the same thing as you, so that group wisdom can be in there and elevate everyone's knowledge.
Yeah. The good thing about it as well is it's not a matter of, right, come in, and if you're going to buy the course, that's you, cheerio. It's like you're in, you're going to be part of this, we're going to help you along the way, which a lot of probably courses don't do.
Yep.
That's probably one of the downfalls of the younger generation now. They've maybe saved up 3, 4, 5 grand, and then they're jumping onto these courses and 3-day courses, and then they're just left in the dirt, and then probably after a week of the hype going away, like they've lost the money, because they realise the hard work that you need to do and the mindset you need to get into this industry. Not just this industry, like any other business venture, as you said, Ironman, climbing hills, etc. What happens with these young people, or even older people as well, is they get in there, they pay the money, they get the hype for a week, and then it falls away, and then they're stuck. They're back to square one. They
need somewhere to plug it back into. When the hype goes, they need to, it's like a connection. They need to be connected to what it is that they're doing, so they can feel that constant energy flow.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Even jumping on, me and George, we jumped on a call Sunday night there with a few of the members. It's obviously going through the beta test and stuff now, but that was a great call. This is just the start of it. Once we get a good few hundred, maybe thousands on that call, it'll be even better.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it develops because it's got some great momentum behind it.
Yeah.
So to see that just accelerating and even the depth and wisdom and knowledge that's in that community and beta testing is profound already.
When's it starting then? Like, obviously, you want to tell the viewers.
Yeah. So you can apply and register now. So you can visit my website, geomcnee.com. You can jump over to school and type in Mount Mindset, where I explain the principles and philosophy of ascending this mountain that trains you to develop your mindset. Once you get to the top of the mountain, you can see a 360-degree view of all your goals and dreams that you want to aspire to. Yeah. But before you can see it, you need to climb to the top of the mountain and develop that solid endurance and lean into the resistance, which it shows you how to do. And then you can develop that. And once we are finished the beta testing, we're going to launch that fully out to everyone that wants to get involved. But you can definitely pre-register now.
Be the next couple of weeks.
A week on Sunday.
Yeah, good stuff.
Week on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was a great episode there. We touched on, obviously, don't fucking bullshit. If you want to learn and you want to get into property, we'll leave the link in the bio or in the comments for Flip Properties. If you want to jump onto the coaching community, we'll also leave that in here as well. For anybody that wants to jump onto that, that'll be a really good start for some people that want to get into property, or not even just property, and get their mind right as well.
Good. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Diary of a Property Pro, a bit of a fireside chat on some of the topics that are in the news today, some of the stuff that we've seen from the inside of the property world, some do's and don'ts, some people that are walking into a slow motion train wreck, and some people that have got some good tips on how to avoid it. If you want to keep abreast of all the up-to-date information, be sure to follow us on our social media channels. We put clips and content up there daily. We also are developing a property community that you can pre-register for. If you want to visit my website, geomcnee.com, hit me up over there, pre-register, and you can keep abreast of what's going on in the world of property in real time. Also, very soon we'll be launching How to Become a Property Pro training course that's going to give you all the tools and knowledge and wisdom to get you at the cutting edge of what's relevant today and how to understand this thing that we call the property cycle. And above all, just a little bit of on-the-ground information, which can never be a bad thing. We'd love to hear from you if you've got any questions. DM us, put it in the comments, or you can email us. And if you're interested in investing in property and you like some of the stuff that we've discussed and you see yourself as player 3 and you're looking for real, sharp, knowledgeable investors that have done it through all the cycles, come and visit Flip Properties, where you can find some of the deals that are over there and some of the things that investors are buying that will weather you from the storm that is brewing. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll see you again on the next one.